Zara al-Razi, an expert in the kalam of illah. Do you know what's the kalam of illah? I gave you an example a while ago. If you knew that this man is in a chain of narrators and he used to walk his wife home, no, he's not allowed to take his hadith. If he was one that tells lies, or he stands in the marketplace and he eats and drink, no, he's not allowed to take. This is illah. This is knowledge of illah. It's very minute. It's very, very minute. Expert in illah. And Abu Hatim al-Razi, the author of Jarh wa Ta'dil. Al-Jarh wa Ta'dil. So, Imam al-Tirmidhi, Imam al-Nasa'i, Imam al-Muslim, Imam Ibn Khuzaymah, Abu Zara al-Razi, and Abu Hatim al-Razi. Many outstanding students. Many outstanding students. Al-Bukhari's scholarship from the time of his youth, Imam al-Bukhari demonstrated an amazing memory. He had an encyclopedic mastery of hadith. And Hashid ibn Ismail and other narrated that Imam al-Bukhari used to attend hadith lecture. But when he would, it's amazing, look at this. He comes there and he sits. Imam al-Bukhari, he sits there very simple. Very simple. So everyone in the group making notes on Abi Hurairah, and Az-Zuhri, and Sha'bi, and Sufyan. Everyone is making notes. Everyone is making notes. Imam al-Bukhari he sits there and he's chilling out like. And they started speaking about him. What, are you some kind of, you lost the plot or something? So they were having a go at Imam al-Bukhari. For 15 days, he still continued like this. 15 days. Imam al-Bukhari, he sits there, and these guys are having a go at him. And everyone is recorded. On the 15th day, Imam al-Bukhari regurgitates from day 1 to day 15. From memory. From his brains. Now these lads is like, oh man. Oh, astaghfirullah, Rabbi. This accusation they gave him, now they just swallow these things up now. Because these lads, now they have to go back to their books to get this kalam. Imam al-Bukhari is bringing this thing from memory. So he was amazing in his durus. The way he sits and takes his durus. One time a scholar by the name of Faryabi in 212 narrated a hadith with the following chain saying, Sufyan, chained to his student saying, Sufyan from Abu Arwa, from Abu al-Khitab, from Abu Hamza. So what this sheikh was doing, he was mixing up the chains. He was mixing up the chains. Imam al-Bukhari, so he's mixing up the chain of narrations in this hadith, and he's trying to get the students to figure out the right chain. No one can do it. Imam al-Bukhari, when it was his turn, he just what? He fixed the chain, quick time. He fixed the chain for them. And he narrated the hadith the way it has to be done. On another occasion, a number of occasions, his colleagues tested al-Bukhari in Samarkand. 400 students of hadith gathered in Samarkand. 400 students of hadith. What did I say? Students of hadith. Same field like him. 400 of them sit there in front of him and they're giving him tests. 400 of them. And he's just on the ball like this. Getting it right, getting it right, getting it right. No stumbling, no error. And then what they did, 10 major scholars from this time, 10 of them came out. Said to the people, look, we will give him a bigger test. 10 major scholars came out, and each one of those scholars narrated 10 hadith. Imam al-Bukhari sits there, rahimahullah, and hundreds of people sits in front of him, and each scholar comes out one by one, he narrates the hadith. An Abi Sufyan, an Abi Zuram, kalam ibn Fulan, and Fulan, and Fulan. 10 hadith from each scholar. 10 by 10 is how much? 100 hadith. 10 scholars are giving him 10 hadith each. Each one of those hadith, Imam al-Bukhari goes, La adri. Second hadith, I don't know this one. Third hadith, I don't know this one. 10 hadith from the same scholar, I don't know this one. The second scholar come out. First hadith, I don't know it. For 100 hadith, he says, I don't know. Everyone in the group is like, what is he? What's his kalam? How come he doesn't know? How come this? Everyone says he's top lad, he's good man, he's scholar, he's amazing. How come he doesn't know? Imam al-Bukhari then started, he says, as for the scholar number 1, hadith number 1 has to be like this. Hadith number 2 has to be like this. And he rearranged the chains of narrations for 100 hadith, and the people were amazed. Not only this, the scholar said, he heard this hadith for the first time in his life, and he memorized it as well. Not only did he arrange the chain of narrations, but it's the first time he's hearing these hadith. But what he did now, what he knew is he knew the chain of narrations. So he's fixing the chain of narrations. So instead of saying fulan and fulan and fulana, then he's putting it right, fulana and fulan and fulan. He's putting it right. And he did this for 100 hadith, and the people were amazed. Imam al-Bukhari. By the time al-Bukhari reached al-Basra, the scholars of the town were looking forward to his farewell, and they welcomed him. They welcomed him, and they gave a very, very good farewell for him in Basra. And they asked him to narrate hadith to them. Thousands of scholars gathered to hear Imam al-Bukhari lecture. He began by saying, O people of Basra, I am a young man, and you have asked me to narrate to you. I will narrate to you hadith that you will benefit from the people of your tongue. And he started narrating to them, and he started fixing the chains of narrations right as well. Like today we have many, many hadith, and we do not even know if it's right or wrong. It's only if a scholar of hadith comes to you. Scholar statements concerning Imam al-Bukhari. Al-Bukhari's character. He was very pious. He was a faqih, not only the hadith, but he knew the Islamic jurisprudence. Imam al-Bukhari, he had some very strong opinions regarding the fiqh. He even made some statement that even goes against the Hanafi madhab, because they have some very weird opinions. And he was known. What was Imam al-Bukhari? Was he a Hanbali? Was he a Shafi'i? Was he a Hanafi? What was the madhab that he used to follow? Wallahi, the scholars some of the scholars says he's a Hanbali, some of the scholars says he's a Shafi'i, some of the scholars says he was a Hanafi because of his teachers. He was influenced at different time by different teachers. And then some of the scholars says he had his own interpretive approach. The madhab of Imam al-Bukhari, wallahi, he had an amazing kalam. His madhab was Ahlul Hadith. And the major characteristics of his madhab, their position towards transmitting hadith, was one that is very strong and one that is very strong and up to date. Somewhat of the literal approach, a more ethical approach. He had different approaches. His trials, and I will close on this one, subhanallah. His trials. Muhammad ibn Yahya, near the end of his life, al-Bukhari had decided to move to Naisabur. By this time, obviously, he was a well-known scholar. All of the people of Naisabur came to greet him. Some of them even set up tents of Naisabur where Muhammad ibn Yahya ad-Duli was a major scholar in Naisabur. And they spread red carpets for Imam al-Bukhari. They spread really good, a grand welcome. And this Muhammad ibn Yahya and the scholars of the area saw that Imam al-Bukhari's gathering are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And they are losing fame. So what did they do? They plotted against Imam al-Bukhari, and they said to him, they accused him of saying that, that he said that the Quran is created. And then they sent one of their agents into his gathering to question Imam al-Bukhari. And the guy stood up and he says, is the Quran created? Imam al-Bukhari says, leave this question.